Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Faith, Family, and Music Podcast. So thankful for everyone joining. Thank you so much for joining. Today on the show, we joined by a true powerhouse in the world of music, a multi-talented artist whose influence spans across genres and generations. They are a respected music director and choral director, known for bringing out the best in every ensemble they lead. In the classroom, they inspire young minds as a passionate educator, while behind the scenes, they craft soundscapes as a producer and songwriter. And that's not all. As a singer and performing artist, they've placed stages with unforgettable performance that touch the heart and move the soul. Please welcome the incredible Brandon Simmons to the podcast.
Hey, everybody, how y'all doing tonight?
What's up, Brandon? Hopefully that wasn't too much.
I was trying to figure out who is he talking about.
I'm talking about you, brother.
What's good, man? It's so good to see you, man.
Hey, same here, man. So good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the invitation and being able to jump on the podcast. I reached out to him and he said, yeah, I got time. So I was like, man, it's good to get like people that I know that are, doing things, from, I've seen you do things from the big level, from the small churches, big churches, and now you're inspiring the young minds, the kids, man. So I've seen you do it all. I mean, not only at your PK, so we have that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So good to have you on, man. So glad. So Brandon, before we get into questions and stuff, man, let the people know who you are and what you do and where you're from.
Well, my name is Brandon J.Simmons, and I am a music producer, singer, songwriter. I'm also a school teacher. That's my 9 to 5. I work at Jackson Memorial as a music director. Currently serving as one of the choir directors at the church. And I'm still a member of my father's church, which is Storehouse Ministries for Christ. I can't wait to start back up kind of soon. So
Wow.
really looking forward for that. It's been a while. Currently right now I'm working on my first album. Been working on it for about 4 years now, and it's been a long process, but we're in the mixing stage now. So that's a great accomplishment. Right now, it's a great accomplishment. So.
Wow. You seem like you're busy. You got a lot of big things coming up. So, shout out to you for that, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so appreciate it.
No problem. So let's get into some of these questions that we have, man.
Ooh, pressure.
There's no pressure. We're going to keep it open and free form and just talk, man, because we know each other. We kind of grew up together in the same city, same area. SWATs.
Pretty much. Campbellton Road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we grew up on that side of town and still hang on that side of town.
Yes,
I think I reached out to you a couple of weeks ago. I told you, I said, hey, man, I'm at Green
Piccadilly.
Mall at Piccadilly. Hey, if you don't know about Piccadilly, if you into good soul food and just having communion and conversation, that is the best spot on the SWATs. Now, it used to be Piccadilly and S&S Cafeteria. Those were the two that we used to go to when I was younger.
S&S Cafeteria was further down the street. But
Campbellton Road.
Those were the church spots, so to speak.
Exactly. Before Golden Corral and all them.
Before Golden Corral and Ryan's, those were the spots.
Yes, sir. All right. So let's get into it. So just ask you a couple questions. The first question I have is, when did you first get involved into music? Like when did it start sparking, or anybody said, hey, he's gonna be a piano player, or the hands of God was on you, or whatever? Like, when did you know that music was gonna be your thing?
So I found out music was gonna be my thing in kindergarten. I had a music
Kindergarten?
teacher in kindergarten. No,
Wow.
I'm so serious. I had a music teacher. I was a white lady. Her name was Miss Copeland.
Okay.
I've never forgot it. She gave me a xylophone. Being that dad worked at the school, I could take the instrument home every summer and
Uh-huh.
just have it at the house. So when she gave it to me, I was like, why is she allowing me to take this music industry, this instrument and borrow it every summer? But she was the person who really kind of sparked it for me because most people don't know I play xylophones,
Wow.
and it's
That's new for
because of
me.
her. Yeah, it's because of her that I play xylophones. I played xylophones in high school.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was because of her. I always say that was like the first instrument that I got. Of
Uh-huh.
course, I had a drum set in like as a toddler and stuff like that. But she sparked it, and then I would say my dad was the second person. He
Uh-huh.
wasn't a musician or anything. He was just kind of like, "Oh, I see he's interested in this. Let me go purchase this
Okay. Okay.
so that he can have this." So like, I had a keyboard. He bought me a keyboard in the kindergarten. It was supposed to be the family keyboard. And that thing set for about 6 years. I didn't touch it till like sixth grade when I was at
Wow.
Bunch. I just like, all right, cool. But I received my first job in the third grade
Hold
at
on.
Bethlehem Baptist Church
Your
on Hogan
first
Road.
job in the third grade?
In the third grade, man. Once a month, I was at Bethlehem Baptist Church on Hogan Road. Minister of Music, Betty Buster, she was another inspiration who saw something in me. At one of my uncle Randy Simmons is a well-renowned choir director here in the state of Georgia and also in the United States.
Right.
So I was at his concert. I'm in third grade,
Wow.
and their choir drummer, the choir's drummer, did not show up, and I had been sitting behind the drummer all night long. The drummer decided he wanted to go to the bathroom, and they started singing, and all I saw was the drum stool just right there, and I just jumped straight on and started playing. And she found me a couple of weeks later at one of the phenomenal spots that should never be forgotten in Atlanta, Georgia, Rose and Share.
Man, I remember that place. I
That was
remember
like
it.
the black version of Berean Christian Bookstore.
Yeah. Yeah. I had
So
somebody from my high school who mom worked there. So yeah.
yeah, that was the spot. So she saw me there. She was buying some material for the choir,
Uh-huh.
and she said, "That's the little boy that was playing drums for the mass choir." I think at the time, I want to say it was the mass choir that came to sing.
Wow. Wow.
And she said, we need him for our youth choir," and that's how I started playing at Bethlehem. So
Man,
my first job was in the third grade.
wow. Somebody just I meant third grade
Third
being a
grade.
musician. That
Yeah.
is wow. That is crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
So shout out to Miss Copeland, for
Yeah.
seeing that gift.
Yeah.
Seeing that gift, like wow. So when it comes to, your musical ability, um, when you now we know Miss Copeland was the one that inspired you, but like on this journey you've been in your music career, how has your family supported you your whole journey? Because I think that is so important about family support.
Yeah. Both my mom and my dad were probably the most supportive in my musical journey. Like
Okay.
like when my mom she'll tell us now how they end up getting the drum set that the whole neighborhood could hear, no soundproof anything. They were a big part. They were a big part of helping me go forth in this music career. And
Okay.
I owe them, I owe them everything. I remember, when I got my first keyboard, official, one of those nice keyboards, they gave it to me. They was like, man, you got to go forward. You've been playing the drums. We need you to move. You need to move forward and and do something different.
Oh
Try
man.
something else. So that's how I ended up playing the keyboard. Too many drummers. Everybody's playing the drums. Everybody want to play the drums at church and at school. Find something else. And wasn't nobody touching the keyboard.
Wow. Wow.
So I owe my mom and my dad that one. But they were very supportive. They bought me the instruments, took me to music class. I got out of music class to go back into music class again, and then started picking up more playing by ear,
Uh-huh.
and just kept feeling inspired. Even the teachers in middle school, Debbie Nimitz, at Bunch Middle School. I don't know if you remember Miss Nimitz.
I don't
Do you
know if I
remember Miss
remember
Nimitz?
that. I don't.
She was
I
like
think
5'4".
about time I
I know
got
she
there.
had to be there. She had to be there by the time you got there, though.
Miss Logan was the chorus teacher when I got there.
No, no, no. I'm talking about the band director.
The band director was Mr. Strickland. She had left by the time Mr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr.
Okay,
Strickland.
yeah.
Well, Mr. Strickland. So when I was at Bunch, let's see, I got the Mays 96, I believe. So
96.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we are that
No,
much
when
far there.
eighth grade, that's when I left, and I went to Mays 96.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
96?
I was in Mays 96 to 2000.
You're not that much older than me. Are you?
Just you're more my younger brother, Anthony. Y'all was in the same age.
Okay. Yeah,
So by that
yeah.
time, Mr. Strickland had left, and that lady had took over.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, because it was him and Miss Logan.
Okay, Miss Logan. Got you.
Yeah.
Woo.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, she really pushed me forward. I was playing. I had tried out. You know how you try out for the drums
Uh-huh.
in middle school, and so many people had got it. But I'm like, these people ain't even talented. You gonna get them play the snare drum and the bass and stuff. So I was like, I brought the key. I told her one day, I said, hey, I think I can play the keyboard.
Uh-huh.
Played at the pep rally. Never forgot the song. No Limit Soldiers. Dun 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 dun. I had this Radio Shack. Dad had a Radio Shack keyboard that he had just bought for the ministry when we was doing like nursing home ministries.
Right.
So I done messed around and took the keyboard, and I took this old Casio without the quarter-inch plug-in.
Wow.
Had to use the microphone that Dad used to preach on.
You had to put it right
mic
by the speaker.
on top of the speaker. Had the Radio Shack speaker at the pep rally in the gym. The speaker ain't even that big enough, but it was loud enough for everybody to hear it.
That's
So
crazy.
that's how I ended up getting like a leading role or a section leader in the band based off of me putting my keyboard to school.
That it's crazy, man, because I'm listening to you and we're only a couple years apart, but I could see myself in some of the certain ways. Like my parents, same way, was very inspirational in me playing with my oldest brother drums. That was my first. I'll say my first instrument was actually violin.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I was at Elo Kimberly, and it was a teacher named Miss Harding, and she said, "What are you gonna play?" I said, "Drums." She's like, "No more drummers, no more drummers." It's like, what I do? I just said, "Can I play the drum?" She's like, "No."
Just want to know, can I play?
And she's like, "You know what? Let me pick one for you. Violin." I was like, "What? I don't know how to play a violin." So she put me on violin. I never made first chair, second chair, or third chair. I was just sitting in the chair, you know. So going back to it, then she said, "All right, let me teach you piano." And so she was the person that started me on piano, but it wasn't like, I think after fifth grade, I end up stepping to drums because I was like, I want to play drums. And then we had another teacher in elementary that, allowed me to play drums, and that's went to snare because I was playing drum set in church.
Right.
So yeah, man, same type of walk. But shout out to your parents, man. I parents, y'all. I'm just saying this because if youth are watching this, I want them to know how instrumental parents are to your kids' development in everything. Parents really focus in on your kids when they're younger, because when they get older, they start being in their own mindset, becoming an adult. So definitely instrumental parents, as Brandon has brought up, is how his parents and others surrounding him has been his supporting cast from start when he was younger until now. him being a great producer, great musician, great all around, talented musician, husband, all the above. So definitely, parents, you are very inspirational to your kids. Wow, wow. Thank you for sharing that, sir.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Within music, how can I bring this up? All right, being a musician, how have you navigated like um challenges? And I'll say, because both of us was brought up in church, and we were church musicians.
Yeah.
How have you navigated to keep your music pure in heart?
So that's a great question. I'm still navigating to keep it pure in heart. Uh, I'm a big Robert Glasper fan,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I'm very
And
familiar with Robert.
one of my musician friends, he heard me playing in church, but he said, I heard that Robert Glasper that you was playing in the middle of the sanctuary, and I was like, how do you know? Like, some people don't know. I'm hearing all, you be hearing all kind of stuff. But I try my best, especially on Sunday mornings, to have a certain level of respect,
Hmm.
so to speak. I listen to so many different genres of music that they all can, it's like a
Intertwine with
gumbo.
each other. Yep.
Yeah, and you'll be at church and you hear those different things pop up, like the other night, one of the other musicians was playing Go Go Power Rangers in the middle of a song, and I joined in with him. I don't know. I'm like,
It's the
is
moment,
this
man.
right?
It's the
Huh?
moment.
Yeah, it's the moment, and it was funny, but it's the enjoyment of just being able to express that. That's what
Right,
gospel
right.
music has always been. We've always been able to express, like when we hear Ty Tribbett, we're hearing like one of the cartoons called Mystic Knights, with that
Exactly. Like
and
Ty is good for it.
yeah, and you just be like, man, some of this stuff you grew up like. Most people don't know. I grew up listening to folk music as
Okay,
well,
okay.
and that's because of Miss Copeland too.
Understood.
I was taking the
Understood.
CDs, and I think one of the first CDs I got was the Lifeboat
Uh
CD.
huh.
Was that said I'd like to know it? You got the notion.
Yep.
So that stuff was like I wasn't hearing that at first at home because I'm commissioned Winans and the Williams brothers.
Bro, we grew up in two different houses with the same set of rules.
Same set. Like those three groups were everything to me. They
Yeah,
still are.
Commission was my R&B.
This is true. And every group always every R&B group always go back to commission.
Exactly. Exactly. I've
They
I've
said that's where we
heard
got
that.
our chops from. We got it from commission.
Yeah, I heard other actual R&B groups say they got it. Like I've heard Tank say it. I've heard
Yeah. Jay
uh
Valentine
Jay Valentine, Boys to Men. I've
and
heard so many.
112.
I was just like, wow, I was
Jagged
really
Edge.
surprised and shocked by it. I did
Yeah.
not know, I'm like, I'm finding this out in 2023, 2024. That's
Right.
what they pulled from, because at that time their harmony, their blends was just
Yeah.
so out of this insane, like in the early, late 80s, because they came out like
Yeah.
around like 89, maybe
Yeah. Late
88,
80s.
89.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, that is amazing, amazing. So L- last question before we just have fun and stuff.
Okay.
When it when you view like opportunities, have you had the opportunity to collaborate musically with any family member?
Yes. Yes. A couple of them
Share, man.
actually. All
Wow,
right. So on the album, and I can say this now, but my wife and my brother are on the same song together,
that is dope. Wow,
which
shout
is
out
which
to
is
the family.
yeah. Like when I tell you that's first off, I always pick at the both of them, and I said y'all more alike than you think.
Wow,
and for them to both be like, I literally, when you hear when the song comes out, you're gonna hear them more than you hear me. And I did
Okay.
that purposely because I said, first off, my brother and my wife was on the song with me. It's incredible though. Like I played it at a family gathering one time. Everybody was head was just yeah,
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 because
yeah.
your
Because it
wife
had
can
like a
blow.
killer. Yeah, my wife is, man. Listen,
Yeah, I heard it, man. I was like, dang. Woo.
I tell people all the time, it's like let her hear the version of her at home.
Okay.
There's two, like to me, it's like two different versions of her. Cause there's the push version because I'm at home,
Right, right.
pushing her and stuff like, hey, try this, you know. But both of them are incredible. My brother, another great musician, drummer, producer, mixing engineer. I tell you, I couldn't like. Those are the two people I go to first.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, what you think about this? Should I have said it like this? Or, should I change something up in the drums and stuff? My brother was
Man,
like,
his
man, make them
program is
drums.
so stupid.
Man,
I watched him work one time. He came over and I was like, hey, I'm looking for this. And he was just like, done. I was just
done.
like, dude, like how it take me minutes to map out what I want. He was
Yeah,
just in, and he went into, I work with Logic. So he went
yeah,
into some things in Logics that I didn't even know Logic had that he
right,
used. And I'm just like, this dude have like figured out how to use Logic in a way that makes stuff simple, but yet it's just like, how did you figure that out? And that
right.
takes countless times and knowing what works and having failures and find the I'll say the magic that makes it work and sounds great. And he's done that.
Right.
I mean,
And at
he
that
got
time, he had all the time in the world because you was working. We was working our regular jobs, and he was just
right.
going. He had all day.
Exactly.
They don't put him. They mess around, put him in homeschool, so he had lots of
Plenty
time.
time. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Shout out to your family and your
Yeah.
brother and your wife for being on the record. So, can you share when the record will be out and the name, or that's still secret?
So it's not really a secret. Like I said, it's been 4 years. We started during the pandemic, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Somewhere around March, June, around that time. So the title of the record is called "Man with a Question Mark."
Okay.
It's based off Psalms 8, and I thought this would be a very unique project because it tells the different stages of where we were during the pandemic. What kind of man did I want to be?
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. And it threw me off. A lot of times I'll write down and say, hey, what y'all think about this man with a question mark? Because notice, during that time of the pandemic, people were going through the battle of identity crisis.
True.
Do I want to be this? Do I actually want to be what God created me to be? And I was like, I definitely want to be what God created me to be. But it was based off the fact, like I said, I'm a commissioned Winans and the Williams brother fan. So all those different combinations of things was piling on at one time in my
Mm-hmm.
music. And so the album is pretty much it's in the mixing stage right now,
Okay.
and I have a single getting ready to come out. Well, we have to change the date. It'll be like next week sometime, called Glory Halle.
Okay.
And I just that's just until the record is done being mixed and mastered, just to give people a little something. And shout out to Jacob Morris. You know Morris, Jacob Morris.
No.
He mixes and masters for Lecrae.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, shout out to him. He really helped to he mastered the song, and I'm really grateful working with him on the thing.
Wow.
When the album drops, we got my brother's actually one of the mixing engineers. Shout out to my man Ron Benner. He's going to be a part of it as well. Ron Benner has been on countless number of gospel records.
You got some big generals on this one.
Yeah, and then I have a guy from Nigeria that I'm adding, Benny Makule. He doesn't know it yet, but he's definitely gonna be mixing the record because we have
Okay.
um, a lot of genre blends, a
Wow.
lot of gumbo happening on the record. Afrobeat with folk music. Um, we even going back to the old Dawkins phase
Wow.
on the record.
So people will experience meaningful lyrics surrounded by culture and just a mixture of what people, the sounds and the soundscapes of what people can relate to because it's embedded in their culture and their what their parents listened to when they grew up. So it'll
Right.
have that type of mixed feel.
Yeah,
Wow.
story time. I'm a John Mayer fan, so I like
Okay.
stories. Tommy Sims. Are
Yep.
you
I'm
familiar with
familiar with
Tommy
Tommy Sims.
Sims?
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, he only dropped one record. That's all he needed. You know, I would still wait on the second album to drop, but he's producing for a lot of people, so that he's good, still good. Um, and you introduced me to John Bellion.
Yeah.
Did I say his last name right?
Uh-huh. You said it right.
Yeah, he was his album, The Human Condition, was the biggest inspiration for this record
Okay.
because he was doing pop in an unconventional type way.
Uh-huh.
And I said, what if a gospel album was done in the way that they did this pop album?
Wow.
So a lot of what I studied was from that album and Tommy Sims and PJ Morton's Gumbo record.
Got you. Yeah.
Those
That
three
gumbo.
were,
That's my like one of my I'll say it's one of my go-to albums when I just wanna just kind of just sit and I don't want to say chill and vibe, but I just need something different, a different
yeah,
palette.
yeah, yeah.
That's definitely my go-to because
That They
PJ,
Gonna Wanna Come.
yeah,
Woo.
man, hey,
They Gonna Wanna
PJ,
Come.
hey, I
And
love that record, man.
lately, the biggest inspiration from PJ has been the mountains and molehills.
Okay,
That was the song. That's the one song that he wrote that I felt that I needed through all the seasons of life,
and
and
that
that
was
inspired.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I saw the first video the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute, this song. I don't think people understood how great this song really was. But he's always been a great inspiration to me, especially because he was a PK. And I
Right,
was like, how do you navigate, being a PK and you're doing these type of songs, but those type of songs are gospel.
right, right.
We just needed the avenue for somebody that was doing love songs and life
Exactly,
songs. So
exactly.
we didn't have that. So thank God for PJ. I was trying to go that route, and then the Lord said something different.
and
That's not your lane, sir.
and I love it because what you just said, man, is I think about uh the soundtrack of your life.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking, I was thinking of a record name, what I can name. And that was one I was looking at a long time ago, just soundtrack of my life. And I was you think about every song at different iterations of your life. You can go back to, you could be like, oh, like for me, I can say, okay, when I in '99, I know I was listening to Commission, uh, Secret Place during this time,
In
and then
'99. Oh wow.
and I
Okay.
can say, okay, I was listening to Kurt Franklin Hero album. I know I was going through this because I used to play this song over and over
Yeah,
and over.
yeah, yeah.
So you have a soundtrack that kind of that journey because you most time I say for me, I go to music when I'm feeling certain things or when I want to worship. It's a particular song,
Yeah, yeah,
PJ
yeah.
Morton dad, worship is what I do. Like it's certain songs I can go to. And that's what I want to get into. Like when it comes to you, branding, how has the soundtrack of your life's scoped who you are now? Like how
Man.
have you developed like from the 16 version you to,
Whew.
the now you?
That's a good question, man. At 16, I don't. Oh my gosh, I was trying to explore a lot. at 16.
Okay.
Like I was trying to discover if I was to do music, what would I sound like?
Right.
I couldn't picture myself sounding like all the people I listened to. I always was looking for, well, what is being different? Because remember at that time everybody was talking about we want something different.
Right.
We still hear that and people saying we want something different. It's still nothing different. Um, you said 1999. That was a great time. That's I mean, I'm piggybacking thinking 1999 Wine and Space 2
Yeah.
came out.
Yep. They showed
They
it.
dropped the Any Way You Leave Off I Go, Send Me. That song still, like, out of all the songs that I remember as a child,
Mm-hmm.
that song and Karen Clark's Praise Festival, which was produced by Pajam, PDA, and J Moss.
Don't bring up
Those
J.
two songs were like, as a child, you heard all the different, you heard Kirk and you heard all the other stuff, but you was like, well, wait a minute, who is Pajam?
Right.
And who is Dark Child? Why is his name Dark Child? Like, those
Exactly.
people inspired me so much to the point, like, I hear them when I'm playing in my music, but as far as the growth, they were the people who I studied. They were my teachers.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they really, if I really think about it, Pajam, Dark Child, and Warren Campbell, they were the soundtrack of my life.
They brought a different. They brought that oomph to.
And Aaron Lindsay, I can't forget Aaron. All those guys had some. Like, we heard other producers like Kevin Bunn. We heard these guys, but they brought something that was, I think, because they worked with they were in other genres.
Right. Like Aaron.
Because Pajam was like, all right, a lot of people don't know Pajam was involved in Sync.
Wow.
I didn't know that until I went and looked at the credits on Pajam at the time. You know, when websites was, well, it's still a big thing, but when websites came out, Pajam had their own thing where they had all their credits on it and the songs. So when I saw the credits and the song, I said, well, wait a minute. They was on a Destiny Child record? How did we miss that? It was on the PT Cruiser. Remember the car, PT Cruiser?
Yeah.
J Moss was singing on the PT Cruiser commercial.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, what else was he on? And then you see In Sync, the song called Do Your Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all you hear is Pajam, like J Moss is on the In Sync song.
Wow.
It's incredible, man. Like, even the Destiny's Child, Why You Acting Like You Don't Know? I was like, I'm trying to figure out, why do we not hear that? And that was a bonus. That was on the deluxe version of the album.
Okay.
But these guys, Warren Campbell, he's on a Brandy album. He tells everybody every time when he tells his story about music, he didn't know how to produce a gospel record.
Right. I
Because he
remember
was
him
in
saying
hip hop and R&B and stuff. And then you got, what else we said? Dark Child. What About Us by Brandon. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
that.
Tony Braxton, Drake.
I mean, he got so many hits with Michael and just
yeah. And I'm just like, well, how in the world? And that was the thing too about the balance.
Okay.
How did these guys balance being in these different genres? They had families and stuff as well. And I watched them and I was like, okay, how did they navigate this? Were they stressed when they was trying to do these R&B records and then jump into a gospel record and then they got to jump to a pop? How did they cover? But those guys, like I tell you, they are my heroes, bro. Like,
okay. Yeah,
I love them, man.
I definitely see that. Like I just found out. I was watching. Shout out to Todd Trebet. He was on the Cry Me a River album.
Yeah, on Justin Timberlake's record.
I was like, what? Why didn't I know this back in when that song came out?
He said he's still looking for that check though. A little bit more money than what they gave him. I don't remember what he said they gave him, But I was like, man, they owe you. They still owe you some money, bro.
Yeah, they owe him some money because I think he said something like he got. I'll just say a random number, $200, and it made 2 million.
He did the choir arrangement and played the keys on the
Exactly.
record. It's
Oh
like,
my
man, y'all give my
goodness.
man, hey Justin, if you hear us, man, go ahead and shoot my boy another Justin Timberlake. I gotta make sure I clear that up. Not Justin
Exactly.
Bieber, Justin Timberlake.
Wow, man, this is so good. I love unpacking this with you, but unfortunately, we're getting close to that time. So I'll ask you this last question.
Okay.
Advice for aspiring musicians. What advice would you give to younger artists, musicians trying to navigate their faith, family expectations, and musical ambitions?
Man, you gave me a lot to say. Let me
Just
say,
pretty.
just keeping God first is really important. I know we hear that seems very cliche that people say that,
Uh huh.
but it's like acknowledging Him in all your ways before you make a decision to do anything. Make sure you have that moment with God. It's like, God, is this the right decision?
Okay.
And I learned that from my father when he would go into a place. He said, wait a minute, Lord, should I be eating this? Should I go purchase this? Do I need this? You know, you have to ask God for that. And as you're pursuing a career, do I need to go this direction or do I need to go this direction? Where do you want me to go? What is your desire and not my desire?
Right. Wow.
Which way do you want me to go? And then stay true to your craft.
Okay.
Don't try to do what everybody else is doing. Like, of course, you have your inspirations, but don't try to do what everybody else is doing. And I think that's one of the things that used to bother me a lot because you wanted to do something like
Exactly.
everybody else was doing, and and you hear yourself, and you're like, that don't sound good.
Yeah.
And your conscience will let you know, be like, yeah, that ain't it right there. Or some family members and friends would tell you, and then that will break your heart for sure and make you
Wow.
start all over again.
Start all over to find
I
you.
mean, as a witness, I had to start all over again
Wow.
as far as the music because I was trying to do something that wasn't for me.
Understood.
It didn't feel right. Even as I was doing it, it felt right. But then when you play it for people, they give you this look. Um, and in some cases, as you're growing forth in your music, you can't really pay attention to sometimes when people say it don't make sense. Because it may make sense to you in a certain way. Like you listen, you know, listen to wise counsel. Always have a listening ear.
Okay.
That's most
Definitely do
important.
that.
Have a listening ear because you don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm still out here like, hey, are these drums mixed properly? I ain't trying to do that on my own. I tried. I'm not gonna do that ever again.
Wow. Yeah.
But keeping God at the forefront is I would say would probably be my number one thing.
Okay.
And always have a sound mind person by your side. That's going to be very key as you go along your journey on whatever you decide to do, especially in music. Have somebody that you can really trust to help you navigate because this thing has changed so much. The music industry has changed. It changes every day.
Right.
Every day. Something new popped out today. We probably don't even know. Some AI thing probably done picked up, and we gonna find out tomorrow. Be like, hey,
Exactly.
they got this new AI device where you can just, you ain't gotta play nothing at all. You just start singing it, and then it play the melody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
For
They
you,
already got that.
man. Listen,
Like I work in a law firm, and I could, from the standpoint of the industry, I see how, I'll say from a secular standpoint, I I was able to see the secular side and how business is done, but realizing now how much the gospel side, they mirror each other. It's the same type of business. One is just
right?
labeled gospel and the other one is just, secular. but they're actually the same beast or the same machine,
This is true.
you know. And I after I seen it, I was just like, so that's why I see the young girl from the Walls group. You know, she came out and say, "Look, I'm done with doing that because it's the same group of people, you know."
Yeah.
And I think they said they was tired of feeling used,
Mm.
you know, by people and in the name of the Lord per se.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I definitely agree with you when you said have a sound mind person that's gonna be honest with you, tell you the truth, look out for you as well as your gift and calling. Because some people don't look out for that. They just see money.
Yeah. You have to be careful knowing not allowing yourself to be used.
Wow.
We have a lot of people, and I can attest to it as a musician. As a musician, you can often be used.
Wow. In in
Like,
the, in the Christian world?
yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, they want me here at this such time. Like, most people don't view it like that, but you
Right.
still have to. There's been times where I've been like, I'm not going over there.
Okay. Okay.
Now, as a husband, now that's the first thing. No, I don't know if I should go there today. I know they're going to pay me X amount of dollars to do
Right.
that. But am I fit? Is my body together? Am I healthy enough to be going? If you constantly on the go all the time, you need to be in the gym and stuff like
Right.
that,
Right.
working out. But don't put yourself in a place where you neglect home.
I agree.
Home is important. So you got to put your folks first.
Wow. Wow. I remember for me, you know, I got married pretty young, but I've learned so much and had so many experiences. It's just that, like, I realized when I was younger, I was just like, I'm gonna go over here. They doing music. I'm gonna go over there. We doing this.
Yeah.
And I was just bouncing, bounce, 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 bounce. And I realized as I got older, I was like, now it's like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't be over there. I can't
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
check with my wife first. you know.
Yep.
So I definitely see that change from when I was like 19 and
Yeah.
now, closer up in age. Now it's just like, yeah, I'm always, God and then family first. Like
Yeah.
if it's going to interfere with my family time, it's kind of like no. Like I've learned the language of no.
The language of no. Whose book is that? I need to purchase it tonight on Amazon. Who man. That is a complete art though. That's an art to be
Yeah.
able to say the word no. Cause everybody wanna say yes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Learn how to be like, nah, bro, that's not happening today. I need to first off, I need to be sleep.
Exactly.
I need a whole nap. Like when you get on work, now it's like, I'm tapping on 40, so it's like you need a whole nap.
Who you telling? That's why when I get off this podcast.
Look, I had my nap today, came home and just crashed. I was like, I'm tired.
Man,
But yeah, man.
definitely that. Man. So, man, thank you so much, Brandon, for being on today.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I
No
really
problem.
appreciate it.
No problem. Hey, it's been so good, man. Hey, we're gonna end this thing with some classical gospel.
Woo!
All right, man. So thanks everybody that joined today to Faith, Family, and Music Podcast. We thank you. Join us next Monday, 7:30. We're looking to have a guest on. Woo. Yeah, that's old school right there for y'all don't know. But we're gonna have a guest next week. Join us at 7:30. So Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today. We thank you and we want to applaud you for being a musician that you are and a producer, and not that you're just a musician, but you're actually inspiring others and young kids and families that are going to come for generations and generations. So shout out to you again for doing that, and we want to thank you. Thank everybody for joining. And as we all say, have a great evening. And remember that Jesus loves you and be blessed. Good night, everyone.
Good night, man.